What's up, YouTube brethren? It is your buddy Choppadong coming at you with another episode of DFS Diary, NBA style. We're going back to Fanduel today. We're going to select the player pool, and we're going to use the and one, the value rankings and whatnot. And we're going to also talk a little bit about value and turd traps. Those of you that know the league better than I do, you're going to be probably shaking your head at a little bit of this, but those of you that don't, you're like me, you come into dfsarmy.com, you rely on the coaches to guide you and further identify the plays that you look at when you're first glancing at a slate. The idea is always, always, always to look at the slate yourself first, then use the others to validate what you're thinking or to maybe alert you to something that you missed. That's how you get better. If you look at everybody else's information first, then you just have tainted opinions all through your head. They're not even your opinions anymore. You've always got to be brave enough to attack the slate on your own, right or wrong, and then go find better help. It really and truly, it's just like a gambling casino. The casinos take betting action, and when they're smaller, the big action comes in on them. They lay it off on a bigger casino. I always need somebody bigger to lay off, my burdens onto. In this case, it's DFS Army coaches in NBA. Not the best example, but hopefully you understand the concept. Let's dive in and talk a little bit of NBA. If you haven't ever found me before, obviously I'm Choppadong. I am a coach and contributor inside DFSArmy.com, the one-stop shop for everything daily fantasy sports, NFL, MMA, PGA, whatever it is you want to talk, we'll talk it. And you can find me inside our coaching channels, DFSArmy.com. Down there in the comments section, we'll take you right there. Use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. Deliver that 20% off discount to your pocketbook, wallet, checkbook, whatever the hell you use these days, Venmo. Get in here, save a little bit of money, use it back into your bankroll, become a better player today. When I sort by the player pool, the first thing I always do is go to the and one ranking system. I think we're all used to that by now. And what I'm going to do, well, we put a little tier in there on the FanDuel side too. How interesting is that? I'm going to be looking at who the top rated and one players are. If I really wanted to get cute and knock these NAs out of there, I would go number filters and I would go greater than, like a 0.1. Nope, we've got some negatives in there. So I would go, greater than, say, who knows? You just put a number in there, a really big number, a negative number, doesn't matter. But that's how you would get rid of that if it bothers you. The main thing we're going to do is just go position by position. On a big slate like tonight, we're going to take the top, get off of there. We're going to take the top 5 at each position. So that's Irving, Conley, Walker, Dunn. Ben Simmons is questionable, so we'll include Jamal Murray. There's 5. Write them down. In fact, I'm going to do that with you. As I whip out my little piece of paper here, it won't take too long, but I want to get the core down, and the way I get the core down is to keep these guys all on a piece of paper just like you. So hopefully you're doing this with me. I'm just abbreviating, guys. I will put Simmons on there, although he didn't have a very good night last night. Jamal Murray, and I'll draw a line. Now I'll go shooting guard. And we'll come back through and we'll go value on these guys in a second. So Harden, Levine, whatever, Drew, Dwayne Wade, interesting pick there. That is, God, it's old as the hills, is it not? Butler, of course, is questionable. So we'll put a little D'Angelo Russell in there. Draw that line again, and we'll go to small forward. Iwundu is going to show up as the NA, so we'll put J. Rich in there. Jabari Parker. What kind of slate is this? Wow. These are Terran Prince. These are guys I haven't seen an awful lot of yet. Man, I'm already not liking this slate. Maybe you're the type of guy that likes it. I'm already not liking this slate. Got a whole bunch of goofy question marks on there. Blake, Portis, Mark Cannon, LMA, and Collins. So these are the guys that I'm including in my player pool as the top 5. The value player pool will start to round that out and balance it. And that's where we'll find our turd traps. And then we'll finish it off with a little bit of who's hot and who's not. Vooch, Embiid. If Simmons is out, it's interesting. Gasol and Drummond are questionable. So I'll put a question mark by their names. And then we'll go Whiteside, Intriguing play there. Alex Len. How does he make the top 5? And Enos Cantor. How are those guys making the top 5 even with the questionables in there? In terms of matchups, very, very, very intriguing. So I'll take the center spot off. Now I'm going to sort off by the value metric here. We're going to see who the optimizers are going to love, love, love tonight. And I'm drawing lines under these guys because if they're on the list, I'm going to put a V next to them. If they're not on the list, I'm going to write their names down. Again, I'm going to take the top 5. So there's Van Vliet, Shy, both on 0 days rest. Very interesting. Dinwiddie, Beverly, and then 5th would be Dunn. And Dunn was on that first list. So we'll mark him as a V up top. We'll call that column good. This is, man, that is wide open. That when you start getting choices like these, I'm going to start really relying on coaches, really relying on the optimizer, also really relying on probably playing a little bit more of a GPP style because it feels a little bit more wide open rather than pinpointed down to just a couple of spots. Depot's one of our values and was not on the top 5 matchups. That's a little reversed from what you would usually see. Eric Gordon, same. There's Butler. If he plays, he gets the V. Dwayne Wade gets the V as well, and then Jaylen Brown. Not a lot of duplication on this list. If we do find a core play, somebody who's on all 3 lists, then we're really going to be on it. Derek Jones, Ingles, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. There's Prince for the V, Justice Winslow for the V, and then we can move on to the power forward spot. Fareed, Jaren Jackson, Harrell, Vonleh. I'll be interested in Vonleh. I haven't played him for a long time. And then Thies. How wide open is that spot right there at power forward tonight? Man, that is a full 10 names. Your player pool tonight might be huge. Okafor, woo! 29-minute. What the hell? Baines. Cantor with the V. Gasol with the V. There's Zisic again. Wow. That's frightening. Click these off again. And now what I'm looking for is big projected minutes. You know, if you end up 22, 24 minutes, you're not going to make my list, most likely. But I saw a very, very interesting concept by my buddy DFS and Donuts earlier today. If you haven't seen the article, follow my Twitter feed at Chopadong and go out and find the tweet where I posted a couple of articles for you. Because in there, he has a video where he also breaks down the Fanduel drop score. And we've been hinting at it all year long, trying to kind of figure out stud and scrub, balanced lineup, this, that, and the other. And he's got a very neat mathematical principle that I think you'll understand once you see it. And you'll wonder, oh my God, why didn't I think about this? But it's showing you kind of the idea behind you need a couple of drop score candidates fighting over each other, and then you take that savings and you pay up as high as you can for upside. And I think that makes a ton of sense. I think it was well articulated. And I think that you would, instead of trying to rehash it all for you and certainly not take credit for it myself, I think you're better off going and getting it straight from the horse's mouth, because I think when you see that video, you're going to be a little bit surprised at how simple that sounds and the strategy that you're looking for. But really and truly, you're going to always, in my opinion, you're going to always want somebody that can qualify as your drop score with a cheaper price tag, but somebody that actually has a shot at being a kept score. And I don't see Aaron Baines being that guy at 22 minutes. Even if he only gets me 20 points, that might be great. Somebody else might only get me 13 points. And it might be one of these guys scheduled for 40. But that's pretty rare. Generally speaking, I'm going to want to cut out anybody who's not in. I want greater than about, say, 26 minutes. Anybody that doesn't have 25, 26 minutes projected isn't really going to get enough minutes, in my opinion, at that cheap price to amount to crap. They're just going to stand in the corner and hope to hit threes. Or, you know, they're down low and they're just kind of taking up space. They're not really doing much. So these little more full-time players, then I can take, if I'm searching for drop score candidates, I can come over here and I can filter out, say, less than 4,500 bucks, and there's my drop score candidates. And from here, I'm looking for value. And I don't see a lot of big value tonight in this price range. I don't see a lot of high scores in this price range. So unless something else opens up later on down the road tonight, I don't see a lot. I mean, we know Avery Bradley, had a good game last night. Wilson Chandler had a good game last night. It's possible if they get the same type of minutes roll or the same type of usage, then they would not really even be drop score candidates. They might be more value plays. If you can take these drop score candidates and make them value plays, then you can include more than just a couple of them in your lineup. I think that point was very, very eloquent by Donuts. But generally speaking, you're going to want some of these guys to actually have a shot at producing in your lineup. If these were your two weak nuts here, Hood and Hutchinson at 19 points each, or throw Chandler in there, and you had two of these guys in your lineup, one of them may score 17, one may score 24, then you've got yourself a solid drop score because you dropped 17, and then the rest of your time, because these guys are fairly cheap, the rest of your money is bought up. Hopefully you're really using the drop score and taking some of these really, really low priced guys. But you take what the slate gives you. You don't go forcing crap in just because it's cheap. Crap is crap. There's a funny quote in the movie. What was the movie called? Pure Country. If you ever watched that back in late '80s, early '90s, George Strait is a rock star or a country star. Kind of lost himself, goes in search of his identity, and when he ends up at this girl's house and meets the family and sitting down to breakfast with the family, the wise old man looks at him and says, the funny part about that white speck on top of chicken shit? Well, that white speck is chicken shit too. And I don't know why that movie quote sticks with me. It's a very, very deep, very, very philosophical statement. Kind of the whole lie down with dogs, get up with fleas kind of statement that, that little bitty speck may look clean on top of chicken shit, but it's really still just chicken shit. I think that that's kind of what these little turd traps are for us too. You're trying to find somebody that actually has the potential value. Otherwise, they're just crap too. And that's kind of where we're going with these concepts. If I reset this number filter here, clear that, and then go back over here to my salary, look at all the other options that opened up when I allow less minutes, 18 minutes, whatever. Look at all of these guys that jump in there. That's again, we cut out the traps off of that, and we're only dealing with guys projected for minutes. Maybe or maybe not the best overall way to go about things, but it's a number filtered way to start cutting the fluff in the player pool, which is something that I'm very, very big on. When I come over here to the who's hot and who's not and go ahead and sort that one out as well, now I can come back and finish off my player list now that I've seen a couple of those turd traps. Look, some of these guys are red freaking hot. And again, they're some of the cheaper guys. If you can find minutes up usage, 11 more minutes than usual out of Justin Holiday at 4.9 value over 3 games and 10 points more than usual. And now, too bad he's $5,000. Otherwise, he'd be a great drop candidate. 10 points, 10 minutes up, 9 points up, 5,300 Royce O'Neal, no longer a drop candidate. 9 minutes up, 8 points up, 4,300 Caspi. If he gets the start tonight, might be a drop candidate. This is kind of how you're going to sort through these tools and filter this stuff out. But when I come back here and look for the point guards, I want to see my top 5 guys. Irving, Beverly, Dinwiddie. So Irving, hot. Beverly, hot. Dinwiddie, hot. McKenna and Van Vliet, hot. So I've got a couple of the hotter guys. Now you're going to have to sort through the situation yourself. Oh, do I bank on value? Do I bank on who's hot and who's not? And that's what I'm saying. There's no clear guy that's hitting all of those parameters. So tonight is lending itself to being a little bit more wide open, at least when you're looking at it the way I look at things. Justin Holiday, no surprise. Fournier, didn't make either one of those other lists. I would write him on the hot list, but I don't think I would be excited to see either one of them in my lineup, any of them in my lineup. Butler might be the only one. It's kind of gross. When I look at, so I'm not even really marking down anybody. Mirotic goes on the list. It's interesting he's not on there as far as a good matchup is concerned or a good value because I've heard in a couple of places tonight that he should be a very, very solid play tonight. So I would definitely add him to the list. CJ Miles, interesting, not getting the minutes. Royce O'Neal is running hot, of course, but his price is coming up as a result. Caspi, Crowder, it's just yuck, 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 yuck. Tucker, Fareed, Rob, Portis, Motley, Scott, Markkanen down here close to making the list but didn't make the list. There is no absolute balls out core play unless Gasol winds up on this list, which he's not. No Gasol, no Cantor in the top 5 of this list. So there you have it. There are no core. Last few slates, we've seen guys that hit all 3 of those lists. In some cases, 4 or 5 guys. You can try and lock all of them in. And I've had good nights with good results with those types of nights. Now, tonight feels like it's going to be wide open. Feels like there are just tons of options on the table and lots of guessing on the table, which tells me it might not be much of a cash night, even on this large slate. It might be more of a GPP night because you're going to have to take hunches. You're going to have to play with less than secure information. Now, in this case, I would also give myself the best shot possible. I'd get off the main slate. I'd probably jump down into the smaller slates. How many games? Where can I find 3, 4, 5 game slates? If I could find a 5-game slate, it'd be beautiful. But 4-game slates are okay. 3-game slates are getting a little bit dicey, but you limit your player pool. You limit the numbers of mistakes that you can make. If some other play went off somewhere else that wasn't on the slate, it doesn't hurt you because nobody else in your player pool had it either, and so therefore nobody used it against you. You can compete a little bit better. The edges are smaller, but you can compete a little bit better on those nights, and when you're right, you're typically really, really right. The scores bunch together, so it's hard to play cash because the difference in 5 or 6 points can mean the difference between a, say, 35th place lineup and a 55th place lineup, and that's not much margin for error. But when you get across that hump onto the other side, you wind up in threatening some GPP cash, and on good nights, you threaten the GPP win on those slates a little bit better than you do on some of the bigger slates. So being that tonight looks like it's a GPP night, my recommendation would be to play the smaller slates, play them more GPP. Go ahead, make your guesses, but make your guesses in a more limited player pool where you're more likely to hit the right note on the slate, hit the right player on that slate, and maybe some of your other players, their other competition misses it with you. So anyway, we're bumping up on about 20 minutes. That's today's player pool. That's a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of strategy for you. Come inside, take a look at DFSArmy.com. Of course, use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. Click the like and subscribe button down there at the bottom of the video. Really appreciate that help. You'll find this video out on Twitter. Hopefully it's short enough. You guys are listening to it. You know, if not, it is what it is. This lineup, this method of media or whatever tends to be helping some people, so we're going to keep rolling with it for the foreseeable future. Glad you follow me. Glad you guys pay attention, and hopefully we talk to you on the inside of DFSArmy.com. Take care, guys. We will talk to you very soon.